Hey everyone, it's Kelly. Welcome back to my channel. Today's video is going to be my February part 1 wrap-up. I've been really slumpish this month, and it's mainly because of my first DNF of the year and this book right here. I started reading this in January and it took me 3 weeks to finish, and that is going to be the first book I'll talk about. So I read my first Russian literature classic, and that is Anna Karenina by Leo Tolstoy. This is about Russian aristocrats, and it's mainly about a couple and a love triangle. Well, can you really call it a love triangle? But I'm going to call it. So, we start off with a guy. He has been cheating on his wife with his children's governess. And so he gets his sister to come, who is Anna Karenina, to come talk to his wife to calm her down, to settle her down, and say, oh, he's really sorry, and don't leave him because you'll ruin yourself, and all this and that. So, when Anna's in Moscow fixing her brother's marriage, she meets this guy named Count Vronsky. And they lock eyes, love ensues, and she has an affair with Count Vronsky. She's married to a well-known guy in St. Petersburg, and she has a son with him, and she cannot stand the sight of him. She can't stand him. And so she gets pregnant by Count Vronsky, and she leaves her husband and son to have a relationship and have a life with Count Vronsky. She starts having mental health issues. She becomes very paranoid. She thinks that Count Vronsky is going to leave her and get married legitimately and leave her a ruined woman. She can't go back into society because she's getting frowned upon, and how dare you show your face. And yeah, and so there's another couple in this book, a woman named Kitty and a man named Levin. And Kitty, she, at the very beginning of the book, she is enamored with Count Vronsky. She wants Count Vronsky to propose to her. And she befriended Anna Karenina at the beginning. And then Anna Karenina stole her man, so she's not happy with Anna. She thinks she's devil incarnate. And so when Kitty was waiting on Count Vronsky to propose, she turned down a man named Levin, or Konstantin Levin. And he is he's a farmer. He owns farmland, and he lives out in the country. And so he gets rejected by Kitty, and he just hates her. And he hates everything, except for his brother. And so to fill his time over the years, he works with his laborers in the field and becomes closer to his workers, how they have little but they are still happy with what they have. They have a roof over their head, they have food, and they have somewhere to sleep. So yeah, so I ended up giving this a 2. It did not need to be this long. Leo Tolstoy did not have to say full names constantly. I listened to this on audiobook, and I listened to the public domain audio on YouTube, and it took 3 weeks to get through this. I was bored to tears. Yesterday I watched the movie, the Keira Knightley version, and what I've been saying all month about adaptations, this adaptation was so much better than the book. Keira Knightley did fantastic. Aaron Taylor-Jones, he did great as Count Vronsky. Jude Law, he did good as Alexei Karenin. I think that's his name. Oblonsky. I really like that actor. He's funny. Yeah. And the guy who played Count Vronsky in the movie, he's Pietro in Marvel. He's Wanda's brother. So, yes. But, am I going to read more from Leo Tolstoy? Yes, but not soon. I want to read Crime and Punishment and some other ones before I get into War and Peace. That's like massive. And yeah. So let's talk about my DNF. So I read Waves and Beaches by Kim McCoy on my Kindle. It was a e-galley from NetGalley, and I ended up DNFing it because of the format. It was like where you see both pages side by side, and you gotta, it's like the font's just tiny, and you gotta turn it, and then you gotta swipe and get to the pages, and it was very difficult to read. So that's why I DNF'd this. It's not because of, well, yeah, it is. It's about the waves in the ocean, and I picked this up in January for the Studio Ghibli readathon. The January prompt was something to do with climate and weather, or climate change, and I picked this because it was about the waves and ocean. And when I first got the NetGalley, it was a third edition of a book that had been previously, but it just had new information. So I may try to find the second edition or the first edition and read it, since it's basically I got the same information. But another reason why I DNF'd it is because it went so much into the scientific aspects. It had formulas and equations, and I just enjoyed the pictures. So, and it talked about how the moon is, it brings most of the currents and the waves, and how the waves make cliffs, and like makes it erodes the earth and stuff. I DNF'd this at the beginning of the month. So the only thing I liked about the book on here was the pictures, and this is my Kindle. So the next one that made me have to film a part 1, because I don't want to put many pictures of books, and I'm going to have to do it for the last book. Anyways, I read, this is the year of graphic novels. I swear, I got so many graphic novels coming from the library. It's graphic novels and big boys year. So, I read Volume 1 of Lore Olympus by Rachel Smith. This is a graphic novel. It was a webtoon about Hades and Persephone, and I loved it. Gave it a 5 out of 5. Before this came out, and when Lore Olympus blew up, I read maybe like this much on webtoon, and then didn't continue, and I don't know why. But the second volume just got a release date, October 11th. I'm going to go back onto the webtoon and pick up where I left off on this, because I need it. But this is basically about Hades and Persephone. Hades is at this party for Zeus. I think it's Zeus or Poseidon. And he's at this party, and he sees Persephone. Persephone has been locked away by Demeter her whole life, and Demeter finally lets her have some freedom. So Persephone goes to this party with Artemis, I think, and Hades sees her, and he automatically thinks, oh, she's even more beautiful than Aphrodite. Wrong fucking thing to say. So Aphrodite takes offense and gets her son Eros. I loved all of the back and forth banter between all the gods and goddesses. Eros, he's got to be, I think it's Eros. I don't want to say the wrong name, because there is a trigger for sexual assault and rape and non-consensual sex. I think it's Eros. Greek myth, Hades doesn't get along with his brothers because his brothers, especially Zeus, sent him down to hell to be the god of the underworld and death. But they get along in this book. And so they're at brunch and they're talking shit and they're talking about strippers, and then Hera comes up and Zeus is like and then Hera just calls Hades her sweet little blue idiot, and I just loved it. And so yes, I can't wait to read the second one. This volume is the episodes 1 through 25 of the webtoon comic lore. I don't know, is it still up on webtoon? Because I know that when they write fan fiction and when they eventually turn their fan fiction into an original work of art, that they take the fan fiction off maybe like fanfiction.net or Archive of Our Own. Because I have a couple friends that write fan fiction that when they have tried to publish their fan fiction as an original work, that they have taken the fan fiction off. So hopefully this is still on webtoon, if you know what I mean. If you have been a subscriber or a watcher for a long time on my channel, then you know I am obsessed with the Rick Riordan Presents books, all of the mythology around the world. And yeah, so when I finished this one, I was kicking myself. Actually, no, not when I finished it. When I finished my first day of reading it with my kids, I read this out loud. I was kicking myself after the first 4 chapters for not picking this up sooner, because the first 4 chapters, I knew this was going to be a 5-star read. I loved it. I connected to it so much with the attitudes and the mannerisms of Granddad and Nana. Yes. So, Tristan Strong Punches a Hole in the Sky by Kwame Mbalia. 5 stars. If I could give it 20 stars, I would. Loved it. And I made the connection. This is John Henry. He is known as a strong man. He's got a hammer. And then, well, when we started reading this, we just started watching season 2 of Superman and Lois. There is a character in Superman and Lois called John Henry Irons, and he has a hammer. Yes, loved it. So this is about a boy named Tristan Strong. His dad and granddad are a little disappointed in him because he is not boxing the way they want him to box. Boxing runs in the family, and granddad especially, he's that old southern man. He's got expectations for his grandkids, and if his grandkids don't live up to them expectations, then they are like the black sheep of the family and they get looked down upon. So I know. Yeah, so Tristan is going to Alabama for the summer to stay with his granddad and Nana, and he is like trying to get over the death of his best friend Eddie, who died in a bus accident that he was in, and he feels that Eddie's death is his fault because the bus was leaning and Eddie was trapped under the seats, and Eddie was reaching out to him, calling for Tristan to help him, and Tristan didn't move. And so when they get to Alabama, he is immediately like glued in on this forest, and his Nana says, no, don't go into the forest. And on the way to Alabama, which I totally forgot, his new acquisition of one of Eddie's possessions, Eddie's journal, because he loved stories, and he loved African stories, and so it starts glowing. And it's got this symbol on it, which his Nana automatically recognizes. And his Nana is like the storyteller of the family. She's always telling stories about Anansi and John Henry and just everything. And so, of course, Granddad's driving. And one of the ways I connected to Nana and one that got my kids all tickled, is Granddad just looks behind them, and Nana's just turned in her seat talking to Tristan. Nana goes, "Keep your eyes on the road." I am the worst side seat driver. My husband hates me when we get into a car because I have severe vehicle phobia. I do not like riding or driving in a car. They get into the house after a hard day of working and driving. And so one night, on the very first night, Tristan is awoken by a sound, and he meets a little creature who sapstacks and is trying to steal Eddie's journal. So she eventually gets it, and she runs into the forest. And Tristan, he runs into the forest and knocks a bottle off of the tree. And then he doesn't realize it, but he releases a haint. And so haint is like a demon. So, and it makes this hole in the ground. And Tristan follows through it, trying to go after this creature named Gum Baby, who has Eddie's journal. And they fall into this burning sea with all these bone ships that are trying to get them. And they are eventually rescued by a girl named Ayana. And that's where the story goes from there. I'm not going to say any more because I feel that I gave away some spoilers. But honestly, I love this. I just bought book 2. And yeah, so I don't know when I'm going to be reading book 2. Probably in May. Because I need to know what happens, why Tristan Strong destroys the world, which is the title for book 2. But yes, absolutely love this book. I wanted to cry a couple times, and I love the map. I just hate that I waited so long to pick this up, but I'm so glad I did. I love this. Another book that I read this month. I started it on February 5th when my internet went out. Stupid routers. Why do we need them? I don't know. So I read You Are a Badass by Jen Sincero. How to Stop Doubting Your Greatness and Start Living an Awesome Life. I don't remember who I got this recommendation from. I think it was Books with Chloe or not Books and Lala. Or Cody's Book Corner. Or Books with Neeks. I don't remember. But I read this, and I need to buy my own copy because I need the tab. And most of the time I forgot what I was reading because it didn't stick and it wasn't relevant to me. But most of the time, most of the parts that I read, it was relevant. Like, one of the things is, it's basic. The beginning is not, it talks about meditation and how to focus on your breathing to relieve your stress, and close your eyes, use a mantra, do it in the mornings, and your brain is a bitch, and surround yourself with people who think the way you want to think. I live by that. I surround myself with my successful friends and who are mostly positive. A couple years ago, my husband, he was friends with a guy who was a moocher. He mooched off everybody. And basically, I didn't like how he was living. And I said, if you hang with garbage, you're going to be garbage. And those few years, it was just not good. Until my husband cut that guy off completely. And now our life is better. So, surround yourself with positive people. That's basically what it's saying. Upgrade your environment. Like me and my husband, we're trying to change some things up in our house to make our lives happier and to make our home more comfortable and how we want it. Make a vision board. We're focusing on building our own house, so we're making our blueprints and layouts of how we want, and we're cleaning are like, we're clearing off our lot next door and to start our foundation, and it's just, yes. So I connected with that. There was something else. Procrastination. If you procrastinate, then you're going to be crap. There's not enough time. If you think you don't have enough time in the day, then there's not going to be enough time. I need to stop telling myself that I don't have enough time in a day for everything that I want to do, because time is an illusion, and if I like manifest that I don't have enough time, there's not going to be enough time. And to go along with that, did I need to make a priority to-do list and a wait to-do list and everything that needs to be done first to go ahead and get done, and not wait all day to do it, and like reward yourself. Like, do work for 60 minutes, and then after that 60 minutes and after you gotten some stuff done, then you take a little break and reward yourself with what you want to do for like 30 or 15 minutes, and then you go back to work for another hour. Or so yeah, it's basically to like calm down the overwhelming feeling. Watch your mouth, watch what you say, because whatever you say manifest into the universe. I'm gonna have to get my own copy and just like read through it more slowly and tab what is relevant to me. And yes, Jen Sincera, she's a coach, and she has, I think, 3 more books in the You Are a Badass series. One's about money, so I need to pick that up. And also, yeah, self-help. I don't like that term self-help, because I'm not helping myself, I'm just reading. But if I tab it, then I am helping myself. The last book for right now, because I'm reading 2 more books, and I got a week left of February, so let's see how many more I can read. But the last book that I finished last night, which was the 20th of February, Who Put the Song On by Morgan Parker. This is a YA contemporary realistic fiction, or a kind of like a fictional autobiography. So this follows a girl named Morgan Parker, author, and it's about her life in a conservative Republican small town in California. And so we meet Morgan as she is battling severe clinical depression and anxiety. And she has come off of a summer where she tried to do self-harm or had suicidal thoughts trigger for suicide. She is the only black girl, well, no, not only. There's another black girl in her school, which is like a Christian school. And her teachers don't know how to act, along with all the other white students. They don't know how to act around her. But she has these 2 best friends, Meg and James, and she's friends with a girl named Kelly. And so yeah, I really loved this book. At first I thought it was just gonna be like a 3, because I was annoyed with how whiny she was, but then she said that she didn't like any people, but then she's like befriending Meg and James, and she doesn't want to go to Meg's tea party, but she goes, and then the whole time she's like looking at her watch, figuring out when she can leave. I'm like that. So I understood that, but it was her attitude towards her parents. Her parents didn't know how to deal with her. Her mom was always, you gotta ruin everything, and you always need attention. Her mom babied her brother in front of Morgan, which was sickening, because he's the golden child, and he doesn't have depression, and he's not got as many problems as Morgan has. So he's like perfect. And yeah, it talks about sex. It's got a lot of pop culture references. So I really enjoyed this. I'm going to be picking up Morgan Parker's poetry, and hopefully that she writes more novels. And so this kind of was an autobiography because she wrote about her childhood and how she still deals with depression and anxiety, and she said that all the therapists in the world are like Susans, like all the Karens of the world. So, yeah. And it talks about Obama winning the presidency and how she felt about that. There's talk and education on the Black Panthers. And, yeah. She had character growth at the end and just went with it. She defied her principals and the authority at her school that tried to quiet her, and her teachers who were against her. And yeah, so you can't do much in a small town Republican small town. Trust me, I know. If you're different, then you get shaded. So that is it for my February part 1 wrap up. If you enjoyed this video, let me know down in the comments, and hit that thumbs up button, and join my growing family, and hit that red subscribe button, and I will see you in my next video.